What's going on with y'all?
Good. How about you? What's the issue today, sis?
What's the issue?
I am so glad you asked that, Beaver. Right.
You gotta let kids be kids. But I don't know about.
Who taking Miss Mabel to the subway though? Okay.
Hypothetically speaking.
I thought you were gonna say something else. All right. And we're back.
My hairstyles was so cute in that intro.
Was it?
It really was.
Oh, that's good for you. Okay. We're back. We came back because we wanted to be back. Hopefully y'all tune in. People will come in and start watching. But we've been off for a while. But as you can see, it's just the two of us. And we decided to come and bring these conversations back to y'all because we be having these conversations with ourselves for 3-4 hours a day. We needed to share. We needed to share. What? Okay. So today, I advertised it as episode 4, but I think it's episode 3 because I don't think we did a 3. But we are in season 2, episode 3 after our long-awaited hiatus. And we're here, me and Yanaa. So what's the issue, sis?
What's the issue?
You know what? I'm going to need you to...
All right, come on. You know how this works. You always, we work on our strengths here. You start the conversation. You know, you bring the facts to the table and we talk on that.
I'm going to need you to be more enthusiastic about this, okay?
I am. All right.
All right, so this episode is about connection, and it came out of a conversation that we had about connection. So you had said something about religion because you wanted to talk about religion and how people often become connected based off of like spiritual connections, but religion kind of, I don't know, it doesn't really allow for that sometimes. So do you want to speak on that?
Oh, what I was saying, when I was talking about that, I was talking about how, when I was talking about paganism and how in paganism, balance and connection are kind of the center of that religion, but everybody gets to kind of practice it the way they want to. Like there are shared values, but you kind of get to determine your connection with spirit and with God or whatever you choose to call that person. But in religion, it's a little bit different. It's rules and regulations, and there's heaven and there's hell, and there's a bunch of stuff you have to follow, which I feel like it doesn't make you as connected to God or to the spirit. It just tells you ways on how to do it, and this is right and this is wrong. It doesn't really leave room for the connection to grow.
First of all, what is paganism? People don't know what that is. What is that?
Paganism is not necessarily a religion. It's a spiritual practice, and it involves all the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and spirit. The connection. So it's hard for me to explain it in the end.
Well, I wanted you to explain it because a lot of people have misconceptions about what paganism is. And a lot of people associate it with witchcraft and black magic and voodoo, when actually it's just the opposite of that. It's about earth and spirit and balance and being connected to your space. So I wanted you to explain that so that people can kind of understand where you're coming from with that. Because for example, Muslims are told that pagan holidays, right, are wrong because they're not Islamic.
Yeah.
Even Christians are told, paganism is wrong, and it all came out of the Salem witch trials,
Mm-hmm.
right, where women were practicing paganism and Wicca, and people were hunting for them because they called them witches.
Yeah.
But that's not exactly what they were. They were actually just being spiritual and trying to align with spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think spirituality is connected to us wanting to be connected to each other? Because
Well,
there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of tarot talk on Instagram lately. A lot of tarot talk.
Which is so funny because a lot of people believe in that stuff and they don't really know what is involved in it and what kind of goes behind that, the tarot readings, and how spiritual readers do their whole thing. But really kind of I think, to answer your question about how that's to do with connecting with each other, I think the first thing is kind of connecting to source, which is kind of the earth, and it's just how we're all connected, and how if you see things in, like, if you see beauty in the world around you, you'll see beauty in the people around you. So it kind of teaches you how to not judge based off of good or bad, which I think helps with your connection with other people, in my opinion.
Where do you think good or bad came from? Like the ideas of good and bad, the ideas of heaven and hell.
Capitalism.
Capitalism. Okay. No, it came from, well, not no, but it came from Christianity. Like Christianity, that's Christian ideology and Christian basics is heaven and hell, right or wrong. There has to be some type of binary or dichotomy in the world, whereas connection has nothing to do with that.
Is it like that in Islam too?
Yeah. There's hell, the hellfire and paradise. And a lot of people believe that. But it's funny because when we were in Texas, we were having a conversation about that type of connection, and how a lot of people honestly believe that earth is hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we're doing with our good deeds and trying to aspire to, a higher level or higher vibrations or whatever you want to call it, is us trying to get to heaven. Because we're already in hell and we're already being tested, and this is the reason why sometimes life is so difficult, because we're trying to get to a better place.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that is definitely one of the things in Islam that is big.
Do you believe in that? Because I don't.
Do I believe in heaven and hell? No.
Yeah. Or do you ascribe more to that earth is kind of like the hell?
And yeah. I mean, I do, because that's what I talk about all the time. I feel like where we are is hell. Mm-hmm. We're in hell because, I mean, all these things that happen, and it's funny because people say, like, if there was like atheists or agnostics believe if there was a God, why would they allow bad things to happen, right? Mm-hmm. And there's people who their entire life is bad things. Their entire life is trauma. Their entire life is obstacles. Their entire life is, difficulty. And it's like, why do some people have to go through difficulty and some people, well, I guess all people go through difficulty, but why does it appear that some people don't, while some people really struggle and have struggles in life?
Because of perception. And like you said, that whole based off of Christianity and what Christianity's taught. It's something that you just said about, like, some people's lives seem to be full of trauma and seem to be full of bad things. And I remember before me and you was having this conversation about, like, when people go through things as children, they don't know it's traumatic really until they get older and somebody tells them, hey, that was wrong, that's what happened to you, and that was bad, and that is something that you probably shouldn't have done, and you're bad, or you're this because of it. And then they feel like, oh wow, this is horrible, and their experience is changed in that moment of what they went through and what happened to them. And I kind of think, going back to, like, paganism, about there being no good or bad, I think the whole perception from humans about good or bad is kind of what frays our connection with each other too, because we have expectations of each other to be good to one another, or this person did something to me that was bad, rather than, okay, this person acted out of their own, perception of their own world. They did what they did for them, not necessarily because they were trying to do something bad to me or
right.
So
like I say all the time, we're just players in everybody's story, right? Everybody has their own path, everybody has their own line, everybody has their own life, and we're all just players in that story. And sometimes we put ourselves in positions that we don't necessarily need to be in, or we put other people in positions that they don't necessarily deserve because they're not a major player in our story. And you know how people say sometimes, like, there's people who sit in the front row and then there's people who are on the stage type of thing. I think that, have you ever heard that saying? You probably not. You're looking like you understand what I'm saying.
No.
There's like an old saying, like, you can't always put people in the front row of your life. Like, some people got to be in the back, and some people can be on the stage. And it's like, you have experiences. That's kind of what people don't understand about life. It's like, life is just supposed to be experiences, and the connections that you have with people, sometimes they're not supposed to last for the entirety of your life. Like, you're only supposed to be in people's lives for a certain amount of time. Like we always talk about with with Erykah Badu. I'm just glad that I knew you at all, right? That's how we really are supposed to be. Like, we get heartbroken because people leave us. We get heartbroken because people don't have the same, don't put us in the same type of importance in their life as we do for them. And a lot of times that causes a lot of the issues that people have, because why is it that I can't be in this person's life and I really want them to be here? I really want, and this is kind of where this conversation came from, how we want to be connected to people so bad that we can't allow them to leave our lives, even if it's destined for them in their story. Like, why do we feel like we have to hold on to people? But the other part of it is, we make a lot of, like you said, rules. We make a lot of interjections into life. If this person is in my life right now, what does it matter why? Right? He's here, she's here for whatever reason. So what does it matter why? Why do we need to know, well, what is he doing? Well, why is he, and how come, and what is this going to be? What are we going to do? And why are we why? Like, what is the point of that?
We're humans. That's the way that we are. I think
we're taught that way.
Yeah, we're taught that way, but where did it come from? It came from somewhere.
It came from America.
Capitalism. I'm telling you, people can make money off of stuff. Because if everybody was spiritual and connected to the world around them, and everybody knew how to get what they needed, and they knew how to work with Earth rather than, just control it, things would be different. People wouldn't have things that they could sell that people needed to make their lives better, because people would see their life as, this is how my life is. There's no better, there's no good, there's no bad in it. So
it is.
Exactly. In order for people to make money off of other people's perceived weaknesses or things to make their life better, that's what had to be created, in my opinion.
It's not just your opinion, because like Valentine's Day is a creation.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is a creation based off of people's need to sell diamonds.
Yeah.
That's why the romantic part of Valentine's Day was created. That's why a lot of holidays are created, because it's based off of the market's need to sell stuff. Like, most people don't know what Black Friday means. Black Friday is the day that all of them stores get y'all to come in at midnight to go and buy their stuff so that they can make profit and be in the black for the rest of the year. And they mark it up for 200%. And people are like, oh, Black Friday shopping, that's such a tradition. No, it's not. It's not.
But
what?
Why do people go Black Friday shopping? Be real. Like, why do people do it? Like, it's tradition, right? It's tradition. It's something that we as a culture do every year. So they do that to feel connected to other people. That's sometimes what people do. But that's what I'm saying. It's people. We obviously thrive for connection, and regardless of whether we're living in like spirituality or this capitalistic society, you gonna connect with people in a certain way. So I feel like some people just do it because everybody else does it. You know what I mean? It's a thing. It's like, oh, I don't want to miss out, because I was like that. Of like, dang, I never went Black Friday shopping, and I actually got some money, and now I want to go Black Friday shopping. It was whack. But
it's whack.
Nothing was on sale. I'll be in the store all the time. Don't have to be on sale. But
I'm telling you that it's whack.
I think it's a connection. It makes you feel connected to the people around you. It's something that people around you do. You know what I mean? So
you sleep all day. You go to sleep after you eat your Thanksgiving dinner. You sleep all day so that you can get up at midnight to go shopping at 4:00 in the morning, so that you can give 200% of the markup of your money to these people so that they can make a profit. Yep. Just so you can be connected to other people, because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, you tell everybody what you got for Black Friday. Oh, I got this for such and such. I got
you
this.
know how I feel about that group stuff. I hate that. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe. I don't know. I think other people feel that way too, but I don't like being a part of the group. And maybe because, according to you, I'm antisocial, but that's not why. It's just, I don't think that following trends and being a part of what everybody else is a part of is good for me. Like that doesn't, just like the argument we had about concerts during COVID. Like, I don't get it.
But maybe it's just because of the way that people connect doesn't hit with you. Like the concert thing is for me. But here's another example of something why I don't understand why people do. I don't necessarily understand the Olympics or like sports type of stuff, or like BMX. Well, sports. I don't necessarily understand why people are so into that and they pay $200, $300 to go see freaking people play football when they can see that on TV. But I would pay $300 for a concert to go see something. And that's because connection, like I told you, that's a place where I could go with people that like the same artist that I like. They're all there for the same reasons. We sing to each other. We're connected for that one night. Some people I might connect with, some people I might not, but it's an experience. It's one of those experiences where I get to watch somebody that I like they're on stage. I feel their energy. It's a completely different connection than just listening to them over, on my phone, on my earphones, or like watching them on TV. It's just a completely different experience. And you're experiencing it with other people who are there for the same reason you are. So,
I mean, it is a human thing, right? Humans want connection. We want companionship. We want people around us. We want to be a part of something. We want to be loved. We want to feel love. Like love is one of the basic emotions, right? Love is one of the basic things that we need in order to thrive as humans. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that when you are a person who doesn't necessarily need connection to thrive, you're considered disordered. Right? Because if most of the mental health disorders have, and a part of even therapy is trying to get people to be socially involved, because when you're not socially involved, there's something considered wrong with you by other people. Mm-hmm. And because a lot of times, and it depends on the disorder, but most of the time is because people are retreating into their own head or into their own body, right? Because they don't necessarily want to be connected with other people because they're afraid, or they have trauma or whatever, people have hurt them in some way. Mm-hmm. And so they don't want to necessarily be connected with outside people. Like that's not a thing. But then you're going to therapy and you're going to psych hospitals because you don't want to be connected to people because of the fact that you've been hurt. So part of the thing is fixing the part that you're hurt by people, but not necessarily pushing you into being connected or being a part of something. Mm-hmm. But how much of that is learned behavior and how much of that is actual human tendencies?
What do you mean? Like the person that's disconnected, or the person that's trying to get you to go back and connect with people?
I mean, connection, period. I get that sometimes, like, for example, you can have a physiological urge, to be connected to somebody, right? Especially if it's like, and this is the thing about romantic love or interpersonal relationships, you have this physiological body type urge or compulsion or feeling to be next to somebody or to be around somebody or to share space with somebody, right? But then sometimes there are people who don't need that. They live a full life, they function, like Mark Zuckerberg, right? But the thing is, people said something was wrong with him because he spent a lot of time alone. He didn't really like to be around people. And so he made his career out of not having to be around people.
But still a way to connect. He still made
he connected to computers.
He just connected with them in a different way than
certain and he connected people to each other, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean it was something wrong with him.
No, but here's the thing. I think connection is important in human life. I don't think it always has to be with other humans because, like you said, like he connected with computers. And if we're going, if we're having that conversation, let me just zoom to a little bit. This is one of the biggest things about paganism. People are not just connected to people. You are connected to the world around you. So like you said, not everybody feels that need for human connection. There are people that live in the middle of nowhere in the forest near a river and they only connect with their dog and they are out in the wilderness all day and they can live like that for 50, 30 years. Because as humans, we are a part of the universe. We are a part of the world. It's bigger than just us. So it's not only each other that we need connection from. It's the world. I mean, we are born of the world. We didn't just pop out of thin air, regardless of what people want to believe. There was not just some guy that said, hey, people, and then we're out of thin air. If you want to believe in God, we were made out of something. You know what I mean? We were made out of matter. We were made out of all this. Our bodies are 70% water. We were created of all these things. So connection doesn't only have to be people. You can connect with a computer because what is a computer made out of? It's made out of you take stuff from the earth to create all these things that we have. You know what I mean? So why can't somebody be connected to a computer? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, connection is important. It just may not be with humans. That's where the connection is needed. It's just around us, period.
But that need to connect with humans came out of somewhere. It came out of an idea. And I think that that's part of what is, and I know you don't talk about it, but it's part of what is wrong with relationships. Because we think we have to be connected to another human in order for us to be valuable. And I don't believe that. I don't believe in that. Do I want to be connected to other humans? Absolutely. But because of the fact that we have these rules about who those humans need to be, we can't never get past when it doesn't happen the way that we want it to.
Capitalism. How many people, I'm telling you, how many businesses would close if there were no couples? How many things would close if there were no groups of people doing things?
Just like I was saying about the gas prices. If everybody stopped going places and stopped buying gas, I bet you them gas prices would go down. But no, it is what it is. But the thing is, like, we say, well, what can we do about it? We absolutely can do something about it. People just choose not to because it's easier to not.
This is just the sheer reality now. This is the reality of what it is. And people rather, fit into what society is or sit back. I think there's people that are not into that. They're just not as vocal about it. You know what I mean? And there's enough people that are into it to where it's still a thing. But I definitely think there are people out there, like you said. I don't think everybody's like that. There are people who don't ascribe to being around people. Like,
that's the thing that I hate about us. And I'm going to say us, I mean melanated people. I hate that we want to be so much a part of something that we don't stand for anything when it makes us separate from the group.
I
don't like that.
You're right. I just saw something the other day, and we kind of talked about this too. When it comes to us as Black people, we share everything we have with everybody else, and then we want to be like, why y'all doing that?
Why y'all taking our stuff?
Right, like every little white boy that got some type of rhythm is invited to the cookout. Why? Because he did.
He knows how to floss. I don't know.
He freaking hit some beats, so now he's invited to the cookout. And it was funny. This one girl on TikTok was like, "How many?" She was like, "I know these country songs, and that don't mean people is inviting me to the rodeo just because I know country."
No, they telling you to take your black ass home.
Exactly. But we invite everybody to the cookout, and then we get upset when we feel like people are being caricatures of black women or of black people in general. But every time you see somebody that is kind of doing it in our style, oh, come on, come be one of us. All the time.
And we want to share.
All the time.
What is that? What is the thing about being connected to each other that is so freaking difficult? Why is it that we as a people, and there's so many calls lately, especially because of what's happening around the world, there's so many calls for us to be connected to each other in a way that we're unified so that we can make our own universe, right? Not just our own country, but we can make our own universe. So we all, melanated people need to come together, and not just black people, but people of color. I hate I hate that term, but melanated people need to be able to unify in a way that we can be solid against the regime, right? Or against the capitalism that we seem to be experiencing. What the hell is that about? We want to be connected to each other so bad that we're having cookouts and we're having barbecues and we're going to Big Mama's house, but we can't be connected in a way that not only do we do this together, but we do it with the neighbors down the street, or we do it with the people across town, or we do it in such a big way that it's not only on Juneteenth that we get together, or we try to figure out where it is that we're going with each other, because we have so much problem being connected to each other. Like, I don't understand.
Because there's one thing that capitalism kind of goes off of too, which you don't think that it would, but I think we want to be connected, but at the same time, we want to be special, and we want to be
the one.
Yeah, we want to be special, and we want to be the only people that are, doing this, and we want to be trendsetters, and we want everybody else to hop on, but then at the same time, do your own thing. I created this, and this is my way, and either you give me credit for what I'm implementing, or you go and you figure it out yourself. So I think there's that thing of, like, with black people, like you said, like, we want to connect with each other, but at the same time, people want to be special. They don't, and when we all get together, it's like, oh, I'm not so special anymore. Started the rodeo as well, but that's what I think. That's what I think.
That we just want to be special. We want to be.
Not that we want to be. I think we're accustomed to being special, because, like, what I was telling you about me being at work, working around all these white people when I first got there, which we talked about this on another show too, how they made me feel so special, and and you're so this, and you're so this, and you're so young, and you're such a hard worker, and you're this, and you're that, and whatever. And I soak that shit up, not even purposely. It's like, oh my God, like, y'all see me, and you see this, and this. And really it was so that they could play off of that, and say, well, you were special. It's only you, not everybody else, but it's just you. So we want that acceptance from white people too. I think it's part of it. And when you get that acceptance, you feel special. You feel like you're the only one. And they tell you, well, you're different than everybody else. you're not the same.
You're not one of those.
Right. So we accept you, and we this, and we that. And I think it's a conflict. It's hard to exist in that space of, like, I still want to help and do this for my people, and bring everybody up, but it's the crabs in the bucket thing. There's always that person that wants to help too, and other people are just dragging
but
down.
That has a lot to do with capitalism too, because, and we've talked about this before, because when and at what point, or at the point when somebody said money is valuable, right? Money is the thing that you need to aspire to get because it's valuable, because it was long time ago, money wasn't even a thing. Like paper money was not a thing. Like now, paper money is still not valuable, but because of the value that people place on it, they make it seem like if you have more than everybody else, that's what makes you special.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing that you need to get. This is the thing that you need to aspire to. You can't, a lot of people are happy with having mediocre lives. Like people don't necessarily need to be in a mansion. Some people don't necessarily need to drive a Range Rover. They're happy driving their Honda, living in their 4-bedroom house in the suburbs, right? A lot of people are really happy with that. But because we have this idea of, in order for you to be connected, right, to all of these special things, in order for you to be special, you have to have this amount of money, or you have to be in this class of people, or you have to be in this elite, lane. And people who are not special. So if you can't be here, what are you going to do? You're going to try your hardest to try to get here. So now I want to be special. I want to feel special. And so I'm going to aspire to try to get to where those special people are.
Yeah.
But if everybody said this is not valuable anymore, like we don't care about that. We don't care about money. We care about community, or we care about being social, or we care about being family, right? We don't care about money.
Well,
then maybe we're going to be
from that, I think.
I don't think so.
You want to know why? And I'm not a scientist or nothing. This is just my own thoughts, okay? Because I was thinking about this the other day. Evolution is a thing, right? Yeah. Every species of animals, and we're mammals, they evolve to their surroundings. They evolve to survive. One of the things that has become a thing for humans to survive is being included, being FOMO, because that's a survival thing. People, and I'm sorry to say this, but if we're being real, there are people that kill themselves because they're not included, and because they're not special, and because they're not in the group. Groups have shunned them and made them feel a certain type of way to where they feel like they're not good enough to even be involved with anybody, because they're different, because they're not the same as everybody else, because they're not wearing the same stuff, because they're not doing the same stuff, because they don't laugh at the same things. They're not aware of popular culture, and they're not aware of society. So they've been shunned. So it has become a survival tactic to fit in. That has become a thing. If you don't fit in, you're on the outside, and some people can't handle that. I think that's become something in evolution that's like, I have to be a part of this. This is being a human. I need to do this. And if I want to be like this, I have to make this money, and I have to do this, and I have to be of this status, especially if you grow up in a place, wherever your environment is, especially if you're in an environment where there are people that are like that, you know what I mean? Or there are people that aren't like that. And you're like, well, why? Why aren't they like that? So I think
that goes back to the point that I was making about people who don't necessarily need human connection to thrive, because you are considered an outcast. You're considered outside of the group if you don't think like everybody else.
Yeah, but you have to learn how to be okay with that. And you have to learn how to be okay with people calling you weird, and with people saying things about you, and with people talking about you. And not everybody is that strong to be able to be okay with going against the grain, because normally when you do, that's when people hate on you the most, and people are like, something's wrong with you. And like you said, with the disorder, like you have some type of disorder. Something got to be wrong with you because you don't want to do what everybody else is doing.
I think part of the problem is in advertisement, right? Because even like as young as like elementary school, high school, if you're not invited to the dance, something is wrong with you. Nobody wants to be, if no boy wants to take you to the dance, then that must mean that something's wrong with you. Even though nowadays it's a little bit different, because girls are going to the dances with each other and they don't really care about, and then there's, people who are non-binary and transgender and all of that's happening. But I think that it's because we don't teach our children that being different is okay. We don't get
why, right? You know why? That comes into the whole conversation of, and this is a conversation that I hate, and I'm sorry, I'm probably never going to have this conversation with my son, but that's a conversation for another day. But that comes the whole thing of like Black mothers and Black fathers having to have that conversation with their sons about what they can and cannot do because they're different. You're different. So you need to lay under the radar because this is how people are going to treat you. And this is what people are going to do to you because of who you are, which is not to say that that is not true. But when we had this conversation before, when the reason why people don't encourage their kids to be different is because of the ridicule they're going to face from the outside world. And they don't want their kids to have to go through that, especially when they know how it feels going through it. And they might have been able to stay strong, but they're like, you're not going to be as strong as I am because I've created this environment around you where you are sheltered and you are not able to take that type of talk. You're not able to take this type of treatment, but I did it because I was in that life. So for you, I'm going to teach you how to stay under the radar so you can be okay in this world.
But that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Because we have to have those Black conversations because we're Black, right? But we don't have we're different conversations because we are different.
I mean, yeah, but that's part of it, I feel like too. Because I mean,
if we taught our kids that these people are acting this way because of them and not because of you, and we instill that in them before they got to school, it wouldn't be these issues with people being able to be bullied because they would be able to understand how to advocate for themselves.
Of course not. But when parents are already fearful and they're already scared of certain things happening to their children, especially with things that you've seen on the media, you do everything for them to not be different. Like, one of the things that I noticed about a lot of people, like a lot of people became parents when I had Elijah at 17. A lot of people had their kids young, right? And the whole thing for a lot of the parents that I graduated with and grew up with is to make sure their kids wear Nike and to make sure their kids have these shoes on and to make sure their kids they got Instagrams and they, you know what I mean? My baby is cute. My baby got to go get his lineup every week and he got to do this and he got to do that because they want their kids to fit in with the children of the people they grew up with because they know how they are and they know how rude they are and how rude their kids is probably going to be. And they want their kids to fit in. They don't want their kids to have to go through what they went through. And this is the way that everybody tells them, your son should be dressed like this and your son should be dressed like that. He shouldn't be wearing this. You know what I mean? Your baby should be cute. So people are more worried about their kids being stylish than their kids being kids. Little girls with half shirts on and dressed like their mama and they mama 27, with her boobs out. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying I get it that's how people do, and that's how people live, whatever. But
you're not talking about the half shirt. Like you didn't want to wear the half shirt. You wanted to wear the half shirt.
Listen. You want to fit in.
But this is the thing. Okay, so like, for example, with us, it is funny because now it's a meme, and I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a meme now that says, my mama used to tell me that everybody ain't my friend, and now I understand. Like, I used to tell you stuff like that all the time because I was trying to empower you to be able to be different and be okay. Like, I would tell you about all the stuff, but for some reason, it was easier it was easier for you to be a part of the group than it was to be separate, even though you knew that there was a specialness about you. You wanted to kind of dim that so that you could be a part of everybody else because you didn't want to be put on the outside.
I don't necessarily think it was about being a part of the group. It was, like I told you, survival, because I had one friend, really, or two friends, really, but I just talked to everybody. I was friendly with everyone because when you're friendly with everyone and everybody knows you and everybody's kind of like, oh yeah, that's just Kalia, she like that. You're a lot more accepted than when you're on the other side of it. And for me, it was hard to be on those. It wasn't easy. It wasn't like, oh, And like you said, you told me everybody ain't my friend, but I wanted to be friends with everybody. I wanted to be friends. That was my thing. So it's kind of like everybody's not my friend now. I'm gonna turn them into my friends. And for me, like I said, it was a survival thing. It was something I had a rough time in one place, and I didn't want to have to go through that again. So I just made sure that I tried to control my environment and control how people felt about me and how they looked at me. And I wasn't going to be ridiculed for being different because everybody was my friend. But they knew that I was weird and I was different, you know? So
that's the thing now. Like, Anaya's in high school, and her main focus, just like yours was being social as opposed to being at school. And I think that when we're talking about, again, going back to connection, you want to be more social when you're at school. You want to have friends and you want to have a friend group, because all these movies that Disney puts out says that that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to have a friend group and everybody's supposed to love each other, and you're supposed to have all these social events and all these things that you're doing. And then school becomes, how do I fit into this group? How do I make sure that I have a group of people behind me? And I even went through it when I was in school, but why? That is the message that's being pushed in media. That's the message that's being pushed through social media now. You have to be a part of this group or something is wrong with you.
But the message that should be pushed is human decency. Because if people taught their kids how to be decent people, people wouldn't have to feel like they had to do that. Everybody would be going to school for one thing, but that's not, everybody's not going to school for one thing because of what they're raised for. And I'm not saying it's bad that they're kids that, you know, don't want to be friends with everybody. I'm not saying that, but that's the biggest. And we were talking about this the other day too. Remember when I told you about that? Okay, if I go on a trip by myself and I go to this thing with a tour guide and everybody's grouped up because everybody wanted to come in groups, nobody wanted to come by themselves. So they made sure that they had people to come with. Nobody is experiencing it together. They're experiencing it in their groups while they're talking to the tour guide. And I'm here by myself and I'm just talking to the tour guide because nobody else is alone and I can't experience it. So like at school, when you're at school and you're a kid, some of the experiences that I had, I didn't necessarily get along with other kids. So I only had the teacher and I talked to the teacher, and that became weird. And then it's like, I want to deal with people my own age. You know what I mean? I want to be doing what they're doing. I want to experience this. So I had to tweak myself in order to be able to survive in that environment, in order to be able to do it. I couldn't be by myself. There weren't everybody that was by themselves and we hung out together and we just, you know, did whatever. It wasn't like that. It was groups. It was cliques. It was we're similar here and we're similar here. And since I didn't fit in with a group or a clique, I just talked to everybody. That was just kind of my thing. But if people taught their kids, go to school to go to school, you know what I mean? Or I don't even necessarily think it's what people teach their kids, though. I think it's what that their parents do, and they go to school like that.
They learn that behavior. And it's the thing what you're talking about how people send their kids to school and they want them to go to be under the radar because of how they were treated when they were in school. And a lot of that has to do with that type of trauma. It's like, I had to experience this, so I'm going to make sure that you don't have to experience this. You're going to be a part of the group because you, I don't want you to have to deal with the type of stuff that I had to deal with. And so if you're trying to teach them human decency, that's not going to be a priority. The priority is going to be, let me see how much I can go broke to get you these good things so that you can look like something while you at school. Because I don't want you to have to deal with somebody talking about your clothes, or I don't want you to have to deal with somebody talking about your shoes. So
because
sometimes
they know how.
Yeah. But that means that parents need to fix their own issues before they have children.
They do, but are they wrong that this is how kids are, though? They're not, though. Because, and the reason why they know that is because, like I said, I grew up with their parents. You know what I mean? I grew up with their parents. I know how they are. So I know how their kid is going to be. I know that they're not just going to be nice kids. Like, I got their parents on Facebook. I see what their mama be talking about in the way that she be, in the way that she dresses her child. And now it's it's even more that we can see into people's lives what they want to show us. There are fronts that they put on because of social media and because of the way that things are. And people are horrible on the internet, worse than they are in real life. But I mean, if you friends with people from high school on Facebook and you see that their kids are going to the same school that your kids is going to, what you gonna think? Damn, this person used to bully me back then. So I know they still on the same shit. So I'm gonna make sure you know this is what might happen. Don't let them do that to you. This is how you finna be. So then your kid might end up being the bully, or or whatever. But I mean, I think it's the cycle, and that's what I was saying about if we back to paganism, the balance. If we thought about things as a balance and not as good or bad, and we thought about things of like, you know what, this kid might be like this to you, but say fuck him. You know what I mean? You are this and you are that and you are great. I'm gonna instill life in you rather than trying to quiet you down because I don't want you to get whatever. Like you were saying, this is what parents need to do. But if you don't know how to do that, and you can't necessarily do that without your child being in their own world anyway, you know what I mean? What do you do? Especially when you feel like I was different and I missed out on human connection. I don't want you to miss out on that. You know what I mean? I don't want you to miss out on the things that I missed out on because you are like me, you know? So,
that's where the rules have to change, I think. And that's funny because I was just thinking, like, when you were talking about how you used to get so mad at me because I wasn't a part of the mom group. I didn't hang out with your friends' mothers. And he was like, what's wrong with you? Why you don't never want to hang out with nobody? Because I knew how them people were. And I did not want to be a part of that. I did not want to be a part of that group because I was not that type of person. Anytime, and because I'm an empath, I feel people's energy. And if I feel that your energy is bad and it's off, I don't want to be around you. And you know me, I picked out people right away.
And the thing, though, you didn't have to hang out with them. I get that. But here's one of you just said something too of like, here's one of the things that I feel. Okay, because you didn't just not hang out with them. You didn't even talk to them. You didn't even say hello. But
I knew who they were.
But they were my friends' parents. And at the time, not that you had to do was important to me, but these are people's houses that I wanted to go over. And I wanted to have that experience that I wanted to have. You know what I mean? But because you didn't talk to their parents, I didn't necessarily have that experience. But here's where the balance thing comes in. They didn't necessarily have bad energy. They had energy that they were taught to have by their parents, right? And if we all come from a mindset of there's no good or bad, there's balance. But some things are, a little bit more worse than others. But because I'm not going to say like, people getting raped or whatever is a good thing, because it's not, or that it's not good, it's not bad. Obviously, there's things that we have connotation to them. But I think it's about control, which is why we have that whole thing about good or bad. You wanted to control your experience, right? You didn't talk to them because you knew how you thought they were going to be. And you controlled your experience by staying away from that. And so for me, I was like, well, now I can't go to their house because my mom don't fuck with them like that. But it could have been as simple as, hey, you didn't have to be friends with them. You know what I mean?
The problem is because my need for human connection was not in grown adults who talked about each other. Yeah. That was not where my thing is, right? I connected through you and your friends. I connected through the children because children's hearts are pure. And I did not at that time, through my own issues and trauma, did not want to deal with people who had those types of intentions because I didn't want to be hurt. So I connected through young people. I connected through children. I made sure that all the connections that I had were things that or were people around me that I was going to be able to enjoy and not be hurt by. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And that's what I was saying about the rules need to change. It's like I told you before when I heard that Yanaa quote about lifetime people, right? Mm-hmm. Lifetime reason and season people. who those people might be. And the lifetime people, she said, are the people who gave birth to you and the people that you give birth to. And that's it. Like everybody else is going to come in and out of your life. Everybody else is going to be either a reason or a season.
Yeah.
But if we had that mentality, like, even if I'm with this person for 25, 30, 40 years, this is the season in my life that they're supposed to be there. It doesn't necessarily mean they're lifetime people. And that's part of the reason why we stay in these unhealthy relationships, because I think this is my forever person. And so whatever this person does, no matter how much it hurts me, no matter how much it tears me down, no matter how much I lose myself in this relationship, I'm going to stay because this is my forever person.
Because
and I forever need to be connected to them.
They believe that if they work on it, that will make a healthy relationship. But what if a healthy relationship is not having a relationship?
That's most of the time what it is. Like people say, it's funny because I had heard once before, like people go to couples therapy to get divorced. They go to figure out how to have an amicable divorce, because at that point, when you get in therapy or couples counseling, is because the problems are so bad that you can't deal with them yourself. And usually the therapist helps you to understand, maybe y'all shouldn't be together. Maybe that's not what this is. Maybe you're trying to put the square peg in the round hole. Maybe you're not supposed to be there. Not saying that that's what that is, that was about, but that's kind of anecdote that's in the clinical world, that people usually go to therapy to figure out how to not be together anymore. Yeah. Because one, people don't understand that people grow. Two, people don't understand that people change when they grow. And when people change and you don't have communication and you don't have understanding of each other, you often don't know how to deal with that. Like I tell people all the time, what?
No, go finish your
thought. Like I tell people all the time, most of the time when you change, people are not going to know how to deal with you. And so they want you to be the same, or they want you to go back to how you were, because now I don't know how to function, because this system used to function in a way where you acted this way. So I acted this way because of how you act. And now when you're changing and you're acting different, now I don't know how to act anymore. So that changes how I feel about myself, or that changes how I relate to you. So now I got to try to make you either go back to where you are, because I don't want to fix me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have to change. So now you got to go back to who you are. Or I'm going to talk about you and say that I like that person better, or you think you different, or you think you better than everybody, or you're changing and you're becoming something else because I don't want to change myself, or I don't want to fix myself. And therapy helps you to fix yourself. So you usually realize, okay, well, this is already not a good situation because me changing is making it worse, or me changing is changing the whole dynamic of it.
You're right. And you know, that is what it's control, right? Therapy pretty much teaches you can only control yourself and you can't control everybody else around you. You can control your reactions to it. You can control what you decide to do, your decisions and how you decide to move forward, but you can't control nobody else. You kind of just teaches you how to deal, right? Which is when we circle back around to what we were including the religion in it. That's what religion is supposed to be. But it's gotten turned into a thing to control others, right? Yeah. But religion is supposed to help you understand that you are a part of something bigger, and to not let your ego take control of your experience. It's supposed to teach you that you are experiencing. You're not controlling this. You're not the one that is running the show. You are watching the show, and everything that you do and everything that you say and everything that happens is written. It's supposed to happen this way. You're supposed to navigate through it. And if you don't get something and you keep trying to control it, it's going to keep happening because you're supposed to just let it go. You're supposed to. So,
there's that thing you were saying about observers. We're supposed to be.
Yeah. So I was watching this video about this guy telling us that pretty much the mind is a made up place. Like our brain has cognitive functions of what we're supposed to do. The mind is imaginary, and we're supposed to be observing the human experience. We're supposed to be observers. We're not supposed to be controllers. We're supposed to observe things as they happen and be in this body, because the body is not us. Our thoughts are not us. We're supposed to observe the thoughts, which is what they teach you in therapy too. You're supposed to observe them, think about them, understand them. You're not your thoughts. But we are so in ego as humans. Being spiritual is supposed to take you out of that, because you're supposed to understand that you're observing and that this is just your experience. It's not, and what does the word experience mean? It doesn't mean you're doing anything. You're you're experiencing.
You're there, you're feeling it, and you're absorbing it.
Exactly. And I think that's what we have a problem with. And that's why connection is flawed, because we want the connection to be the way we want it to be, rather than just appreciating the connections for what they are, and appreciating our connections with people, and appreciating, hey, you know what? Maybe we're just not in the same place, and you're over here with these people, and I'm over here now. So let's just let the connection go, rather than keep fighting to keep this connection when we know we're not working right now. Our energy is different. But I think religion got tainted. Mm-hmm. And I think religion is a different word. More so, spirituality is something that can help you connect with your higher self rather than your ego self. But that's kind of what paganism stems upon. It's teaching you how to just be okay with it. It's balance. It's things have to happen so this can happen. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily mean it's bad, but it seems bad to you. But somebody has to die for somebody else to live. You know what I mean? And that seems really fucked up. But it's like, that's because we hold such meaning to these things as humans.
Yeah. So. But there are other religions that don't believe in that type of connection. True. Or there's other religions that believe that you are not supposed to be connected to anything. You're not supposed to be connected to the world. You're not supposed to be connected to each other. You're not supposed to be connected to, material things. You're supposed to just be connected to the earth and how or what role you play here on earth. Yeah. Right. And when you were talking about connection, I was thinking about like heartbreak happens because we want to be connected to this person emotionally. And either maybe that person is not emotionally connected to us in that same way, or we perceive that they're not emotionally connected to us in that same way because their emotions or their emotional connection might present differently than what we think it's supposed to. Mm-hmm. But and we get sad and we're upset about the fact that we can't be with this person anymore because of the rules, right? You're not supposed to be treated this way. People are not supposed to talk to you this way. People are not supposed to be this way in your life. People are not supposed to have more than one relationship. People are not supposed to have more than one connection to a person because they're supposed to always be connected to you for the rest of your life. And then when that doesn't happen, we get heartbroken because how dare you not want to be what the rules say? The rules say that you're supposed to be this way.
And
period.
Another thing that tells you that connection is not supposed to live on is that people die.
Yeah. Depending on if you're spiritual or not, people believe that you still can maintain connection with people who are dead too.
But most of the time, your connection in the physical world is to their physical being. And if you're spiritual, you know that you're not going to be connected to them in that form always. But that's the thing that hits really hard for people when people pass away, because you're so connected to this person and now you won't be able to have these moments with them anymore. But rather than appreciating what you did learn from them and taking that with you, you're always going to have a piece of them because they gave you a piece of them. You are
a piece of them most of the time.
And all the things they taught you and the whole relationship that you had with them. And that doesn't go away, but I think when people die, it feels like it does. But it doesn't, because you're still going to have those memories and you're still going to be able to live in those moments if you choose to. So I think our human version of connection is a little bit tainted with capitalism.
A little bit.
But
a lot of it.
I suggest that people get to know themselves first. Once you know yourself, I think it makes connection a little bit easier. And I think that's really what it is, thinking inward rather than outward.
But not only just that, I think we need to think more present.
Yeah.
We need to be more present. We need to be more present in the moment. If this is what's happening, this is what's happening. If you try to push it away or you say, you put the rules on it and say, well, this doesn't make me feel good. And it doesn't usually make you feel good because you have an idea of what it's supposed to be and that idea is not being met. If this is the type of connection that you have with somebody, and regardless of what the external factors might be, if you continue to connect with that person, be okay with that connection until it's not there anymore. And then figure out what to do with your life after that. But when we put the rules on it, well, it's not how it's supposed to go, and it's not how he's supposed to be, and it's not how she's supposed to be, and this is not how we're supposed to be doing things, then that makes that's kind of stunts your growth and your development in a way that makes you not be able to connect with other things in a joyful way, because you're not maintaining a proper perspective about the connections that you have with people that are in your life right now.
I think the way the relationship should be thought of is the relationship is the teacher and I am the student. Because when people learn things from teachers, like, you appreciate teachers in your life, but they come and go, right? And 9 times out of 10, people do get connected. There are some people that have special relationships with their teachers, but 9 times out of 10, people don't have deep connections like that with their teachers, but they'll still remember the teachers that taught them something. They'll take away from, well, I have a few teachers that taught me some things that I can remember to this day, but I'm not going to go searching for them. And I didn't say, oh my God, I want you to be my 7th grade teacher next year, because I'm holding on so much to what you taught me. I took what I needed to take from it and I left everything else. And I think that's the thing about us too, as humans. We need to take what resonates. We need to take what it is that is for us and let everything else go. So like you said, if that moment is for us, it's for us. Doesn't mean it's a whole lifetime of living in that moment.
Yeah, and the moment can last for 10 years or 10 minutes. That doesn't matter.
I think that's our time, though.
Yes, it is. Well, another great show in the books. So check us out at Sis Issues on YouTube. That is our YouTube channel. We only have 12 subscribers, so we need more if y'all so obliged. But anyway, do you have any parting words you want to?
I'm actually glad to be back. We're gonna be hype. I think this was the comeback show.
The comeback.
Everything after is gonna be, we're gonna get back acclimated and all that.
Yeah, if more people promoted it.
I told you.
Media, because mine's is private. Apparently, what your brother told me, since mine's is private, people can't see everything that I'll be advertising. I make public posts, but my promotion is not nothing because I only got 200 friends. Well, no, on my Facebook I got like 1,000, but
I only got like 70 on my Facebook.
My algorithm only makes me have like 200 connections. But anyway, so if Yanaa would promote more, maybe we get more people to join us. But thank you for the people who have. Nia and Kiana, our ride or die. They was there. like always. And I think we want to do every 2 weeks again. Or do you think we should do it every Sunday?
I think we'll figure it out.
Okay. All right. Love y'all. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. Okay, bye.